pre-orders up right now. Hot Toys pre-orders that are up that have low stock warnings. Hot Toys pre-orders that are up that are already on waitlist. And retail figures that are in stock and available within the secondary market, sometimes selling for 30, 40, even greater than 50% less their retail value. And you have to wonder, can you take that data? Can you look at those trends and determine exactly what the production numbers are going to be for Hot Toys moving forward? I've got the coffee brewed right here for this week's episode of the Market Value Chart Show. Let's go ahead and dive into all this right now. All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show right here at Aries Cantina, home of 6-scale Cantina. Please go ahead and smash that like button. I so do very much appreciate your support. And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the Cantina. Again, thank you so much for your support. Let's get right into it, baby. Should we brace for impact? Listen, there are certainly signs that I'm seeing right now within the secondary market and the primary market that are fairly much going where I thought that they would go at this time. Remember, we are approaching tax season. And a lot of us are going to get our tax returns in. There's going to be a little bit of extra money. Many people are going to use that to catch up on bills, catch up on necessities, things of that nature. And some of us are going to be able to use some of that money and use that towards collectibles, vacations, anything else that we've had to take away from expendable income. So under that view, there's going to be certain things that you're going to see a little bit of an uptick with. So keep that in mind. Second thing, when it comes to Star Wars, you're going to see an uptick just because of The Mandalorian Season 3. And if you want to go by the trends that are laid out already for The Mandalorian, going from The Mandalorian Season 1 to The Mandalorian Season 2, and even taking the book of Boba Fett into account, especially the last 3 episodes of that series, when you had Din Djarin in there, the armor, the heavy infantry Mandalorian, Paz Vizsla, and then, of course, getting Grogu in the last 2 episodes, you could see that The Mandalorian is on its own uptick. And if Season 3 continues to exceed over what we have already received already, my goodness, it is going to be absolutely insane when it comes to the popularity of Star Wars, not only here in the United States, but in Europe, all over the world for sure. And when you take that into account, along with many of us getting our tax returns back, you're certainly going to see some type of a bump, a little bit, within the secondary market when it comes to Star Wars Hot Toys, when it comes to all Hot Toys, when it comes to all collectibles. You're also going to see an uptick because of The Mandalorian. However, The economy is in a volatile state. Some things are leveling off, as aforementioned. Some things aren't continually increasing. Not a whole lot is decreasing back down to where it is. It's where it is right now. And I am not seeing a whole lot of new collectors in this economy coming into our hobby, coming into other hobbies, spending money on new adventures like we were during COVID. And you have to take that into account. There's not a whole lot of interest coming into hobbies like this right now, not because of lack of interest, but because of lack of funds. Because there's not enough money. Because things did increase so high, even though some are starting to greatly level off for the moment. And the streaming service on Disney Plus, when you look just at Star Wars, sure, people are going to see that. I expect the ratings to be higher than ever. I expect the hoopla and the hype, and probably justifiably so, to be more insane than ever. And I will bet anything on it that Favreau and Filoni are going to find a way, that dynamic duo, to somehow outdo The Mandalorian Season 2. To somehow outdo the last 3 episodes of the book of Boba Fett. I don't know how they're going to do it. I certainly have some ideas and certain things on my wish list. But I tell you what, they continue to supersede the things on my wish list. Thank goodness for those two gentlemen and everyone involved in Disney Plus right now. Wow, when it comes to Star Wars, great job. But just because something is good, just because something is popular, just because Grogu is adorable, that doesn't mean that people have $300, $400, $500, or $600 to buy a hot toy, for instance, or a hot toy set at that retail value. The money doesn't magically appear because that's happening. The economy is still in the state that it's in. And I think we have to understand that. And I'm going to go through some things with you here today that I believe is going to show you pretty much where we're all headed with this. So you could take a look. Let's take a look at some in-stock figures right here. I'm pulling this up onto the screen. And here is Moff Gideon, a Mandalorian character for sure, and also probably going to be a prominent character within The Mandalorian Season 3. Just back from February 8th. $153. That's it. Bunch of bids, certainly a lot of interest. With the shipping box, $153, not including the $16 in shipping. Look at this seller. Almost 1,000 feedback, only 38 away. All 100% positive. It's a far cry from the listed retail price. Here's your Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian's coming out. Beskar Deluxe with the child. TMS 015. $204.50. A bunch of bids. Another outstanding seller. 444 feedback. All 100% positive. Not including the 19 in shipping. Wow. Basically $100 off on this one. Let's go to some more here as I bring these up on the screen. And here is Boba Fett. And one half of the 2-pack Another outstanding seller, Hawk Wars Toys, now $14.61. Wow. And Ray is only 39 feedback away from 1,500 feedback, all 100% positive, not including the 25.29 in shipping. My goodness. My goodness. Let's go to some more. And here's another one. And this is also from Hawk Wars Toys. And this is Boba Fett and the Throne without the throne. $200. Bunch of bids. Wow. A lot of people vying for this, just trying to get it. Just trying to secure it. Trying to be able to afford these figures that are in stock. $200. And I actually bought the 2-pack. I mean, the deluxe version, Boba Fett and the Throne of this, from Hawk Wars Toys here. Highly recommend Ray. Great seller. Double boxes. You get a comic book like this. Every time you buy, it comes double boxed. You get a couple of stickers. He gives you a great deal. Make sure you look him up on here. Tell him Mary sent you. Anyway. Why aren't people paying more for these? Why aren't they paying more? Here's another one from Hawk Wars. Grogu, $102.50. Not including the $26.29 in shipping. How about the beloved Clone Wars? And here's another seller. And $170 with 9 bids for a Clone Wars Mall. Well, I guess if you go to Sideshow right now, for instance, during this recording, they had 20% off the Clone Wars Ahsoka with only $5 shipping. Pretty good deal. Why are these deals like this? Why are they like that? Let's go to some more. Let's pull this up on the screen. And while this isn't in stock, this should be very, very telling. An OG Mando, $174.50. This hardly ever sells over $200 anyway. And this is on Waitlist. And this is not in stock. And you have to wonder, what if there was some stock for people who missed out on this? Let's go to that argument right now. Oh, well, people want this in stock, and what are we going to do with those people? Well, you're going to sell it for basically $175 because it's not going to sell at the retail value. Listen very carefully, my friends. You wanted a little bit more stock for people that missed out? Everybody who basically wanted this figure, who had the money for this figure, bought this figure. If they want this figure now, they just cannot get it for the retail price. And this is long gone. And this is another sample. I want you to put this in the back of your brains as I continue to stimulate your brains over here and hopefully help you open your eyes even more. What would happen if companies did continue to get overstock? Even with popular characters. Popular characters like Darth Vader. Popular characters like The Mandalorian. Popular characters like the Clone Wars Ahsoka. Is it possible that exactly what you're seeing right here would happen? And I say, yes. Look, it's all in the data. It's all in the trends. And many times we have to put aside not only our personal preferences or what we think would be better for us, but looking at it as a whole. looking at the hobby as a whole, looking at these other companies, the manufacturers, the distributors, and putting yourselves in those shoes and seeing what you would do. And then also looking outside of Hot Toys, which is only a very small, it's a great hobby. It's a great, company, but it's not the only thing that people collect on planet Earth. And you have to take everything that's going on into effect. Wow. $175. $175. Here's another telling one. We should keep more of these troopers in stock because people troop build. Well, okay. $180, make an offer. Already this is well under the retail price for this artillery trooper. And this is brand new. And from an outstanding seller, 343 feedback, all 100% positive. $180, best offer. Why is the best offer up there? Because there's an exorbitant amount of confidence that we can just sell it for this much of a reduction off the retail price? Or is it possible that the make an offer is on here because there is somewhat of a lack of confidence to sell at even this amount discounted from the retail price? And can you take this data and wonder if official retailers, official distributors, manufacturers are also seeing these type of trends and are calculating that in their current production numbers, in their plans for production, in their orders, especially in a world right now where we don't exactly know where the economy is going, when it's going to get better, if it gets worse before it gets better, if it levels off, if it doesn't get a bump here or a bump there, or hit a bump in the road here or a bump there. There are a lot of questions, and there's a lot of things we can't answer, and there is a tremendous, exorbitant, high amount of risk when you are talking about overstock, unless you want to move it at a greatly reduced price from the original retail price. Let's pause for some coffee. Absolutely delicious. And even some of the ones, that you could tell are selling when you sorted out best selling wise, even in the secondary market, with a tremendous amount of bids. And you got 35 right here for Bo-Katan. And she's hot, but still brand new with the shipping box. $30 under the retail price, my friends, and only $16 in shipping. And that's Bo-Katan. And she really just came out. And really, just came out. So, here's the Attack of the Clones R2-D2 with the waitlist full for real. I'm seeing Bo-Katan. I'm seeing the OG Mando. I'm seeing the 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader. I don't know. Can you give me a character that's immune? Just saw Ahsoka Tano, that broke the damn internet. 20% off this week. With $5 shipping. How much of a risk is it to be able to get an exorbitant amount of stock of this R2D2. It's on waitlist. How many do we actually think that they made of this R2D2? Well, but let's actually look at R2D2 within the secondary market, the most coveted R2D2 in the secondary market. Well, here you go. Just back from February 18th, $305 from a seller with 1,145 feedback, all 100% positive. $305. How many bids? Not many. What's the shipping? Pretty low, $17.70. It's trending down. Trending down. Is it possible that the people that are in this hobby right now are in this hobby? And while new collectors will be coming in, especially when the economy goes on an uptick, you're not getting thousands upon thousands just storming into this hobby because they've got so much money to spend on figures of this right now to come in and get these R2D2s. So now you got to take that information. You got to take that trend. You got to look at that data and you have to ask yourself, how much stock should I get in? And how long do I want to sit on it? Let's look at more. Let's look at some more. And a far cry from where it was growing. Wow. 352. This figure would go between $450 to over $500. Not right now. In this economy. R2D2 trending down within the secondary market. Not the Force Awakens version. Forget about that. But the most coveted version. So again, I ask you. Going to come off waitlist to get another batch of 5,000 of these? 4,000 of these? 3,000 of these? You have to wonder. Boba Fett. Waitlist full. And I could tell you right now, the Cad Bane from the book of Boba Fett very, very shortly is going to get a low stock warning and go on waitlist. So is the Cobb Vanth. So is the Purge Trooper. Actually, somebody mentioned to me, I didn't even know that it happened a couple weeks ago, I think, or a week ago. Cobb Vanth was on waitlist for a minute or something like, or not waitlist, low stock warning. Which basically means, and that's happened with a lot of these figures, any day, any moment, that's going to go. When that goes, Cad Bane goes, they all go. Why is Boba Fett waitlist full? And should we have confidence that we will see this in the bargain bin in stock at retailers because, I don't know, things are the same that they were? I just showed you Boba Fett's that are in stock. I was showing you Boba Fett's last week that you couldn't even move at 50% their retail price. Very, very scary. Very, very, very scary. To be quite honest with you. And I'm trying to see if I could pull it up here to show you, but it's just very, very interesting, my friends. 2-pack last week, selling for less than 50% its retail value. Brand new. Anyway, let's continue to look and dive into this. Vader. Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary Darth Vader. Starting to level off now. Around $300, not trending down anymore. Probably will start trending up eventually. That will be a grail in the future. But here you go, Darth Vader. DX28. Low stock warning is there. Low stock warning is there. And if you put this in your cart right now, the collector's edition, it will 100% give you the dreaded blue screen. And then shortly following that, you're going to get the deluxe version that is also going to follow suit. And why is this happening with these figures? Why is it happening when it comes to Hot Toys? Is it possible that what I'm showing you within the market, whether it's the primary market, whether it's the secondary market, is it possible that it's because of the lack of funds, the hardship of this current economy, that things are changing, that adjustments are being made? And I say yes. 100%. And look, I've told you before how I think many of these are still probably or have a likelihood of getting in stock. When you have a lot of us struggling to make ends meet, to pay all of our utility bills, to be able to purchase all of our essentials and necessities, when the NRD comes to call, no matter who you buy this from, or when you're ready to purchase a particular collectible, you may at that moment be like, "Gosh darn it, I don't have the $250, the $350, the $400, the $500, the $600 to pay for this. Hopefully I can get it next year. I'm not going to buy it." And if you get enough people and enough collectors, and if it becomes dozens of them, it's going to come to a point where it's not necessarily on a wait list, where it's just going to get in stock because now you've got a few hundred or some hundreds you weren't expecting to. You were going to sell them, but it didn't sell. What do they do with those? They put those in stock. How long will they sit in stock? Well, how long does a wait list stay at wait list before it goes wait list full? It can literally be a month. It can literally be 2 months. But here's the key. As I make it bigger here, this low stock warning, so you could see this on the Dark Lord of the Sith DX28, the collector's version anyway. There's not a whole lot of collectors buying right now. And there's certainly not a whole lot of collectors coming into this hobby right now, compared to, with both of those points, the way that it was a couple of years ago, even a few years ago, even when The Mandalorian Season 1 got hot, and of course during The Mandalorian Season 2, and during COVID. It's nowhere near that right now. There is a pause. There is a standstill. Sure, they are coming in, but not at the rate that I have been used to seeing it. Is that going to change? 100%. When will that change? When people get more money. When there's more expendable income. When there's more cash to go around. Until then, it is what it is, and you got a little bit coming in, and you don't have the luxury to overproduce so much. Because when you do, you're going to have situations like I was just showing you on the screen, situations like this. Make an offer. even though it's only at $180, even though it has free shipping. Situations like this, where I can't even tell you how much hype there is right now for The Mandalorian Season 3. It is off the charts. It's higher than Master Yoda's midi-chlorian count, baby. $153. 19 bids. Lots of interest. Not a whole lot of money at all. So what happens? What happens from here? What are the adjustments that are going to be made? What are those adjustments? Well, I think we're already seeing it. We're seeing low stock warnings on pre-orders. Unprecedented for this hobby anyway, right? When it comes to Hot Toys, while they're on pre-order. We're seeing pre-orders go on waitlist well before they're due to come out. We're seeing all kinds of adjustments within the secondary market as well. And I believe balance, yin and yang. There has to be balance that is brought back in to meet the current times. To go with the current trends that are right now unfolding before all of our eyes. Production, for the most part, needs to meet the demand. And even if the demand is so high, okay? Supply and demand has everything to do with that. But if you overproduce, even in a high demand, eventually it takes away the demand. Because now you're overproducing, no matter how popular something is. There needs to be some balance. And it's not that Marvel isn't popular or The Mandalorian isn't popular. On the contrary, it's extremely popular. What isn't popular right now is being able to spend a whole lot of money on expendables. Like some of us are able to do during COVID. Like some of us are able to do more so before COVID and during COVID, as I just said. It's just not there right now. So you need to balance it back. But right now, it's not even there. Even a little itty bitty bit. And when things start getting shaken up like that, or the obvious starts being very apparent as it is, adjustments start being made. Concessions start being implemented. And new ways of trying to generate profits, to encourage buying, to generate interest, are being put into motion, these new mechanisms. And I believe that what we're seeing right now, low stock warnings, wait lists on pre-orders, figures that are becoming grails or highly sought after very, very quickly, is generating some interest, is putting hype back where it needs to be, and is being able to capture any of those collectors that do have the expendable income to put into this hobby, to be able to be like, yeah, that is where I want to put my money. I want to put it on Hot Toys. Otherwise, they could decide to put it on Black Series. Or they can decide to put it on Gentle Giant. Or they can decide to put it on Vintage Star Wars. Or they could decide to put it in statues. They could decide to put it on in something else. Because there's only so much to go around. Where is it going to go? It's kind of like a bunch of restaurants within a 5-mile square radius of each other. Which restaurant are you going to go to on Friday night? Which one are you going to go to on Saturday night? And each restaurant has to do their due diligence to not only have the best prices, but the best food. And not only have the best prices and the best food, but the best ambiance. And not only the best ambiance, the best prices, and the best food, but the best reputation, the biggest hype. And this is the same thing in anything. And when you go ahead and take a look at what they did here with this arena suit Boba Fett, which is 1,000% trending up again and is once again in the biggest mover section at 6scalecantina.com and in the market value chart trending up. And this basically went here for $465. $415, but that's actually $73 in shipping. So add another 50 on there, you get your $465. But my goodness gracious, altogether $489, not including the taxes, well over $500 for the arena suit Boba Fett, and I showed you a ton of these last week. Why is there interest on this figure? Is it because it's more sought after than the repaint version? No. Is it because it's more sought after than the Empire Strikes Back actual movie version? No. Is it because it's more popular than Boba on the throne, or the OG Mando, or Darth Vader from The Empire Strikes Back? No, no, and no. Is it because they only made 3,000, a limited run of this particular figure, and mind you, it is a reuse of R&D that they already have, minus paint and some extra different accessories? Is it because of that? Yes. Yes. What have I been saying for how long? Lower production numbers, more announcements, and more reuses of this R&D, of these molds, of these materials, of these head sculpts, which can look quite different. Just look at that Mandalorian Luke Skywalker that is going to be coming out from The Mandalorian Season 2, which they used that same R&D from that head sculpt for the upcoming DX-25 Luke from The Empire Strikes Back from 1980. It is the same darn head sculpt, but the same R&D. It's amazing what you can do with some moving eyes or positioning that different, and some repaint and some different hair. But it's the same darn mold. This is how you generate interest. This is how you generate demand. And people talk about this. Oh, you see that arena suit Boba Fett. Yeah, I wasn't interested in it. Yeah, and then when it starts getting $500, there's going to be some people like, yeah, I kind of am interested in that. That's hot. I want that in my collection. I want something that looks cool. I want something that's worth money. I want that dark side Anakin, even though I didn't want it in the past. It creates demand that wasn't there previously. It just does. No matter what I or you think about it, it creates hype. It creates demand. And if there's not enough collectors right now, at this current time in this economy, that are just coming in by the hundreds, by the thousands to buy Hot Toys, you've got to be able to generate the interest in other ways. And when you put out a production run of 3,000 globally, this is exactly what could happen. This is the same darn thing with the chrome-plated Clone Trooper, which is not selling anywhere near like this, but is selling at retail, and now, as of the last couple of weeks, $10, $20, $30 over retail, which as a collector myself is very, very reassuring. Very comforting to know if I go ahead and buy a figure right now that is in stock at so many comic shops or wherever the heck you're going to buy it, that it can hold its retail value and has the opportunity to increase in retail value. And then in some cases, have grail ability like this arena suit Boba Fett in the future. But the only way that you can make this happen, if thousands of people aren't coming into a hobby, If there are already thousands or tens of thousands of people that have expendable income right now to be able to come in to buy figures that are in stock, the only way to create that hype, to create that demand, to create that, oh my, do you see and take a look at that, is to have a limited run of these figures, is to have limited numbers of these figures, is to put out more and more announcements with less and less production of these announcements. And how do you make up the difference that you invest in the R&D? You reuse it, baby. Which is exactly what they did when they put this out. Exactly what they did when they put that out. It's exactly what they did when they put that R2-D2 out. It was exactly what they did. How could they put this on waitlist already, Aries? Well, I gave you a bunch of data, but let me give you something more. This is the same mold that they already invested in. They actually don't even need to put this out. Well, then they're missing out. People are going to miss out on this. I say, no. You've got the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi coming out. And you have to wonder, is it possible you get an R2-D2 from the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi in, again, the fourth use of the same mold? And I say, yes. Yes. How about the upcoming 40th anniversary, 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith? Any anniversary for Star Wars, you can put out an R2-D2. You can put out a C-3PO. Why do you think they're on waitlist? This generates demand. This generates excitement, and this brings collectability back into the hobby that was lacking a little bit with a lot of the figures that were coming out very recently, and brings back the potential for real grailability in the future. Now, I make no mistake about it, for so many of the figures that are in stock that are right now not selling for what they are, could they be grails in the future, like the Dark Side Anakin? Could they be grails in the future, like the Emperor and the Throne that used to sit in stock? Sure. They can absolutely be going for those prices, like the Jawa and the Gonk Droid, which this is another figure that's trending up. Yes. Just back here from February 10th, and I was telling you this the last couple of weeks, and here's more evidence. Another outstanding seller, 886 feedback, all 100% positive, $365, not including the $13.17 in shipping. Absolute insanity. And how's Dark Side Anakin going? He is trending up. But make sure you follow the current trends from 6-scale Cantina and the market value chart. Because, this went for $1,500. And not a whole lot of feedback. And I didn't include this in the calculations because it's under 10 feedback. Although 100% positive. So very, very good. But $1,500 is just too much money for this particular figure at this particular moment. But people are buying it for that. And it's not relisted and it's sold. So $1,500, wow. And it had some bids. And this figure right now is averaging about $800. I think $803 in the market value chart. That's more appropriate and where it is. Actually, very good deal on one of these that just sold from Hawk Wars Toys, putting this up at a very reasonable price. $710. That was best offer, and I think he gave $10 off or something like this on there, not including the shipping, not including the taxes, and that was a good deal because I've been seeing them move over $800. But be careful with some of these. Definitely be careful with some of these. And one of the ways you can be careful is you can go to 6scalecantina.com, which is on the screen. And if you don't have 6scalecantina.com bookmarked, you just may want to consider doing so. It has all the latest information on everything we've been talking about on this show. It has the market value chart for Star Wars Hot Toys, all the figures and what their current prices are, whether they are at retail and in stock. It has everything on there. Everything right now, no matter if it's Boba Fett and the Throne, or if it is Cad Bane on pre-order, or the Dark Side Anakin we were just talking about. It has the current value, whether it's trending up, whether it's trending down, or what the steady price is. And when you go here, there's a few menu options. When you go to, the market value chart here, which is the third menu item, you can just type in Dark Side Anakin, and it will come up. So I just go to that little white search box. I can put in Dark Side, and probably before I even put the whole word in, it's going to pop up, and there it is. Dark Side Anakin. So very high. Very, very high at $803 and trending up. But a far cry from $1,500. So make sure you use this as a handy-dandy tool. With a lot of these figures, it's an average. Everything on here is an average. $803 means sometimes it's selling in the 600 something. That also means sometimes it's selling 900 or up to 1,000. And a lot of it has to depend on if it's used. A lot of it has to depend on the seller, or the confidence that someone has in that seller, or it has to depend on if it's new, or what condition the shipping box is in. But that's the average, give or take $200 one way or the other. But not $1,500. This is a great, great tool. You also don't even have to search it that way. If you want to know what the current prices are, just go ahead and go to the chart and go to the current value column, hit that arrow twice, and you get the highest ranked figures from the lowest ranked figures, and it will show you the whole list of every single Star Wars hot toy from the past and what is up on pre-order right now and what the current trends are. It is a vast, amazing list with a myriad of Star Wars figures. Let's go ahead and take a look right now at the biggest mover section, which is the second menu item. And you'll see that Dark Side Anakin is in the biggest movers. And really not a whole lot up in here. I am seeing some figures moving more. I am seeing a little bit, as I said at the beginning of the show, some things leveling off and some sales increasing. You're going to see that as The Mandalorian Season 3 comes in. You're going to see that with tax season. Don't get fooled by it, though. The real key is really going to depend greatly on what happens with this economy in 2023, especially in the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter coming up this year, and projections as well. But you see Leia and Wicket Return of the Jedi going up, that set. Remember when that set wasn't moving? Dark Side Anakin, remember that? Boba Fett arena suit, we were just talking about that. There's R2-D2 trending down. You can just go on here every day and see what's going on within the secondary market for Star Wars hot toys. That Short Trooper that used to go for $600-$700, nowhere near that anymore. Jawa and Gonk Droid on the way up. That OG Mando down. Boba Fett 40th ESB going up. And look at that. Kylo Ren from The Last Jedi right now trending up. It's very interesting right now. Again, 6scalecantina.com. And if you liked what you watched here today, you just may want to consider becoming a Cantina Insider. Basically, join my channel. It's less per month to join my channel than buying a dozen eggs, baby. At its one price, all one tier for everyone. And you can get some expanded thoughts, some heightened analysis. You can get some crazy fracking unboxings, as I dub them. All kinds of neat shows and different stuff that I do on there as a Cantina insider. And going back to sixscalecantina.com, all you got to do is just look at the yellow box off on the right side of every menu page. You see Cantina Insider, my arm, my hands raised there. You can see the latest show as I go ahead and blow this up on the screen for you, and you should be able to see it there right now. Now, a new show that just got uploaded. If you joined, you'd be able to watch it. Second Obi-Wan series Darth Vader. This is an extra Drunk on Coffee small episode. I'm sure you got used to seeing now my new series, Aries Territories, Drunk on Coffee, which comes out every week here publicly. You'll also get an extra show from there that didn't make it in the other show, just about this Darth Vader. Awesome. You get a lot of these insider extras. You get special shows like Dark Sisters. You see Darth Talon. You see Ventress. You see Darkside Ray. There's a Boba Fett 2-pack unboxing. I just did Boba Fett and the Throne as well. I've got pleather cracking and climate control collection tips. You don't want to miss that. Did you know that Baby Yoda, Grogu, has joined the NWO? And what you gonna do when Mickey Mouse goes 6-scale Raw on you? Because I will be live with 6-scale Raw once again on President's Day at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss that. More about production numbers. Don't forget, just click on that little join button, see everything that it comes with. So let's go ahead and, before we close the show, go into the last thing. I said all that to say, with the whole show, what are the production numbers? Basically, what you're looking at is what you've looked at with the Arena Suit Boba Fett. Arena Suit Boba Fett's around 3,000 pieces. And I believe that around that average is what you're going to be looking at for all of these hot toys coming out in the future. Just like with the market value chart, give or take 20%, or, a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there, it's an average. Could it be 1,500? Yes. Could it be 5,000 pieces? Yes. I think right around anywhere between around the 3,000 production number range is what you're looking at when these figures get a low stock warning and go on waitlist. I think that's the limit of what you're getting. And even though I think that was probably the limit with the clone, with the two-helmeted chrome clone trooper, some of them, that doesn't mean they're all going to be extremely popular. Some of them are going to go the way of the Arena Suit and Boba Fett and be pushing $500 and eventually be a $600-700 figure like the animated Fett. Some of them are going to go the way of the Darkside Ray and be pushing more $350 to $400. And that one's, as you know, that's a future grail, in my view. Some of them are going to go the way of the chrome-plated Chrome Trooper, or some of these other figures where it's just like, hey, it's going to be at retail right there, or just be a little bit above. But basically everything then has the potential to hold its retail value, or maybe just a little bit under, instead of being 20% under the retail value. 50% under the retail value. It's just, that is way too risky of a depreciation. And really, I don't expect any of these figures in the future to hit anything over 7,500 max, maybe certain characters, maybe 10,000, depending upon it. Again, why? Because you're going to get more reuses of the same R&D mold. If you don't want to use the word 2.0, 3.0, that's fine. Okay, to me, it's all the same thing. They were using the materials, they were using the cloth, they were using the body, they were using the head sculpt, they put a little bit of a different paint, they do this to it, they change the armor, they repaint it this way, whatever you want to call it, a reuse, a 0.0, a 0.5, whatever it is. You're going to be seeing way, way more of that on the investment for the most part that's already in with that R&D and less production. Because right now, in closing, you sure as heck have a much greater opportunity to move a few thousand more of an arena suit Boba Fett than trying to make 3 more thousand of an Empire Strikes Back 40th Boba Fett, more of those, of a repaint Boba Fett, of a worn out Boba Fett, of a Book of Boba Fett, Boba Fett. You got much more of a chance. And you got much more of a chance selling a Darth Vader from the Obi-Wan series with the full Hayden Christensen head sculpt, another 3,000 to 5,000 of those, than getting 3,000 or 5,000 more DX-28s once it's exhausted, than sitting on those trying to sell those. And that, my friends, is where I think this is going in some way or in some sort of a fashion. I don't always buy coffee out, but when I do, I buy it from 6 Scale Cantina. Stay thirsty, my friends.